2023 was terrible. The only good song was Planet of the Bass. Okay, I don't actually mean that. On the surface, I think it's easy to paint 2023 as a weak year for music. You look at the charts, you look at the big news stories, you look at the handful of folks who are dominating culture, and it's easy to think that this was a bit of a filler year. But then you think back to what albums came out this year, and you say, oh, that came out, and so did that, and 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 you realize, yeah, 2023 was pretty good. As I say every year, please don't get hung up on the specific rankings for these albums. They are my 10 favorite of the year, but them being placed in this hierarchy is just because it's fun to do videos where you go from big number to small number. Also, feel free to leave your favorite albums in the comments down below, and check out the playlist in the description with all of the songs that I play or mention. Drumroll, please. Number 10. With this list, it's finally time for me to set the record straight.
It's a bad idea, and I'm all about it.
It's funny looking back on your past, isn't it? I started making videos back in 2018, the same year that the first Boy Genius EP dropped.
Thank you.
Back then, Julian Baker had a few albums under her belt, Lucy Dacus had just put out a great sophomore album, and the only thing I had heard from Phoebe Bridgers was the song about how Ryan Adams is an asshole. Fast forward to 2023. Both Julian and Lucy have kept putting out good records, and Phoebe is out here duetting with Taylor Swift. The Boy Genius of 2018 was a side project. The Boy Genius of 2023 is a supergroup. The record is their coronation. Truthfully, describing why the record is good is either very easy or very tricky. Are you a fan of any of these three women's music? That's what you're getting here. Easy. To go any deeper is harder because, seriously, the same things that made these records good is what makes the record good. You're getting songs about love, heartbreak, self-doubt, disappointment. The delivery ranges from intimate three-part harmonies like Without You, Without Them, Letter to an Old Poet, Cool About It.
Telling you it's nice to see how good you're doing.
Or giant hooky sing-alongs like $20, Not Strong Enough, or Satanist. And the women singing these songs are not only vocally distinct and great on their own, but they blend together so well. If you like Punisher, listen to the record. If you like Historian, listen to the record. If you like Little Oblivions, listen to the record. And if you like the record, listen to their EP from 2018 because God, that thing is still great. Number 9. I love making videos on this funny website, but a downside of talking about popular music is that I have to deal with copyright. This means I'm often unable to play you the amount of a song I would actually like to play. However, this restriction doesn't usually apply when it comes to music from other media, such as video games. So instead of telling you why Bomb Rush Cyberpunk's soundtrack is on this list, I can simply do this. Or I could do this. But hear me out now. What if I did this? Okay, this next one is definitely going to get me banned from several countries, but what if I did? Listen to this soundtrack, please, and pick up the game too. It's a very good time, especially if you like games like Jet Set Radio. Number 8. Every year before I finalize my list, I try to go through as many albums I missed and see if any of them should be added. On one hand, I think it's good that I open up my list to as many albums as I can. On the other hand, sometimes that fickle mistress known as recency bias can mess with me. Sure, I put an album I just heard on the list at the last minute, but what if I change my mind about it in a month or two? How will that affect the NASDAQ? So with that in mind, this next record, I heard it pretty recently. I might not like it as much in a few months' time, but honestly, after just a few listens, I needed to put it on here somewhere.
New York Transit Queen, New York Transit Queen, New York Transit Queen, little over 17.
Now, if you're like me, you looked at the name of the artist who made this record and went, wait, like put your records on? Yes, your eyes did not deceive you. Corinne Bailey Rae released that hit song back in 2006. That's 17 years ago. And to be honest, I didn't know she was still releasing music. Turns out, I've just been blind. Corinne's continued to release music since to consistent acclaim. But Black Rainbows, something about its praise, the tone of the project, that album cover, the primary inspiration of the Stony Islands Arts Bank in Chicago, all of it seemed different to me. And then I put it on. Immediately, I was awestruck by how everything I had assumed about Corinne's music was completely and utterly wrong. The stunning opener, A Spell of Prayer, the abrasive punk of New York Transit Queen, the gorgeous piano of Peach Velvet Sky, the ominous dance floor beckoning of Put It Down. He Will Follow You With His Eyes starts like this, and ends like this.
Lipstick, my plum red lipstick.
And somehow the move between those 2 points does not feel jarring. There isn't a single genre of music left untouched by the end of Black Rainbows. In summation, Corinne Bailey Rae, I apologize. I was not familiar with your game. Number 7. A top 10 albums of 2023 video is a great place to talk about an album from 2022. Last year, there was a record called Dripfield from a band called Goose. It's true, look it up. That record wasn't on my list last year, but this year I came around on it in a big way. If you enjoy jam bands at all, check it out. Now let me ask you this. What could be better than Goose? Well, isn't it obvious? Add more. The story of 3D Country begins with its opener 2112.
God of the sun, I'm taking you down on the inside.
If there was a better opening statement from a fresh-faced band in 2023, then my binoculars must be busted because I don't know where it is. The band demonstrates such tight chemistry with great hooks and abrupt dynamic changes as the lead singer summons the spirit of 12 other vocalists before him to listen correctly, run like a maniac around your living space, destroying everything in sight and screaming like a demon spawned from the 81st ring of hell. Mind you, that was the first song. Across the rest of 3D Country, and with the help of producer James Ford, Geese pack in excellent performances, great melodies, and a simple focus on fun. Whether you're headbanging to the percussion breakdown on Cowboy Nudes, the sultry jams on I See Myself, the dynamic build on Domoto, or the expansive escapade that is the title track. If Geese continue to release music as wild, expressive, and enjoyable as 3D Country, then we might be looking at one of the defining rock bands of the 2020s. Number 6. This next album is number 6 on my top 10 albums of 2023 list. It might seem redundant of me to say that, but I wanted to say it again because I'm going to start this off by sharing a mild complaint that I saw levied against this album. You can't really hear Danny Brown on this. Listen, I know. I know, okay? And I'm not saying I agree with it entirely, but just follow me for a moment. In 2023, JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown teamed up for Scaring the Hoes. And some people were like, the f*** you did? You want my take on it? I believe it's a matter of performance intensity. Danny has that signature high-pitched delivery, but he also raps at like a normal human volume. Peggy, on the other hand, is out here yelling his damn head off. Both of these approaches are valid, it's just when you put them right next to each other, I think it makes their differences stand out. But here's what's really important. When I listen to this album, it's not for the words. The words are good. If you read the lyrics on Genius, you'll find plenty of clever lines. But the words are not why I listen to Scaring the Hoes. It's to have my head split open like a cantaloupe by the wildest rap production you could ever imagine. And in that regard, this thing is excellent. Finally, they've listened to the fans and gave us the song Jack Harlow Combo Me, Lean Beef Patty, yes. The title track, yes. Kingdom Hearts Key, yes. Step a Pig, so valid. Perfect, so correct. Fentanyl Tester, sear my skin off right now. The only real downside of this album is the handful of times where I've told real people in person who have stable jobs or Roth IRAs or children that I like an album called Scaring the Hoes. I get it's a meme and it's truly not that serious or deep. It just, think of the impression it gives for someone who's not in the know, you know? I would feel a little embarrassed to say that my favorite rap album of 2023 was something called Scaring the Hoes. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I wouldn't say that to begin with, because Scaring the Hoes was not my favorite rap album of 2023. That honor actually goes to number 5. The last time I brought up McKinley Dixon, it was in 2021, where I said, out of all the albums in my honorable mentions, I feel like I'll be kicking myself the most for not putting McKinley Dixon's latest in the top 10. 2021, Mike, if you're out there watching, I'm about to make this right for both of us. McKinley's latest album, Beloved Paradise Jazz, was inspired heavily by author Toni Morrison. Her books are even where the album gets its title. McKinley says in this DIY Mag interview that he was inspired by her ability to capture people's complexities, juxtaposing their contrasting feelings. McKinley flexes that same ability throughout this record, like on Run Run Run, Tyler Forever, and Sun I Rise.
For us to find out where other sons exist. Bullet meant for the temple of Goliath, but David went mad with power. Now I'm here to kill the king that killed the giants.
These songs often use serious matters or tragic events as their backdrop, but they don't feel sad. In fact, Beloved gets so much of its power from its overall production, which is nothing short of stunning. Horns, flutes, piano, strings, choirs, guest vocalists, guest poets, and McKinley at the center of it all. The entire album is carried by a confident sonic beauty, a genuine hope informed by a love of one's community. Plus, it's under 30 minutes. Check it out during your lunch break. You won't regret it. Number 4. Last year, the 1975 put out a really good record, and they've been touring that record for most of 2023. They've also managed to stay in the news largely because of this man's big-ass mouth. Matty Healy seems to have offered himself as our new loudmouthed jackass musician who is usually fun to watch, sometimes insightful, and occasionally very distasteful. All of that noise sometimes overshadows the band's music, which I think is usually good, as well as the work that they do with their label, Dirty Hit. It's the home for the 1975, as well as artists such as Rina Sawayama, Wolf Alice, and...
I could have been somebody else,
While I'm out here atoning for past Mike's sins, have you heard the album Good at Falling by the Japanese House? I only mentioned this album back in my honorable mentions for 2019, and it's still a favorite of mine from that year. If you haven't heard it, you should listen to it. And this might be kind of crazy, but while you're at it, you should also listen to Amber Bain's follow-up from this year, In the End, It Always Does. This is definitely a star-studded step up from the last record. It features credits from Muna's Katie Gavin, Charlie XCX, Justin Vernon, and major production from George Daniel of the 1975. Oh, and the Goblin Man. All of these folks help support Amber's lyrics and stories detailing a rough breakup. And like beloved Paradise Jazz, you wouldn't initially know that the album tackles such melancholic subject matter because it's just so fun to listen to. Tracks like Sunshine Baby, Friends, Boyhood, Touching Yourself, Sad to Breathe. That's right, a song called Sad to Breathe actually makes me quite happy to breathe.
Is it sad to breathe the air when you're not there?
And those more upbeat moments make it so that when the album does sit with sadder feelings, like on Over There, Baby Goes Again, and the closer, One for Sorrow, One for Joni Jones, it hits you smack in the face.
No one's ever gonna love me like this dog lying in my lap.
In the end, it always does leave a great impression on me. Number 3. At the end of the day, I am a simple snare. If Sufjan Stevens releases an album, I will like it. The pitch for Javelin pre-release was that it was a return to the sound of his 2015 instant classic, Carrie and Lowell. I get the framing, and I would elaborate somewhat. Yes, songs like So You Are Tired, Goodbye Evergreen, Will Anybody Ever Love Me, they often start small from acoustic instruments, but they don't stay that way like they might have on Carrie. Instead, they grow in scale and scope, weaving in synths or drum pads, or the classic Sufjan Supreme.
The Recorders.
Sonically, this feels like a summation of everything Sufjan has done up to this point. And then talk? Oh, ho, ho, ho. Please take a number from the machine and wait your turn before you speak to me, because I am still processing how astounding this song is. This is a beautiful album that was made by a man who, for most of 2023, could not catch a break. In September, Sufjan announced that he was dealing with Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare disease that rendered him immobile and hospitalized. And then, around the time Javelin came out, Sufjan posted a dedication to his partner who had passed away earlier in the year. And that news changes things a bit. To be clear, I don't know for sure the timeline of events here. Maybe these songs were conceived before his partner's passing and they're not about him, and I am not owed an explanation in any way because none of this is my business. But for me, that second piece of info invites some theoretical reframing of what these songs mean. Many of the songs on Javelin come across at first like breakup songs, but then they reveal a second, deeply existential side. They don't just feel like Sufjan singing about someone who's leaving him, but rather someone who is leaving the world, life, existence. Even with that darker context though, Javelin doesn't suddenly become a depressing album. When Sufjan was posting from the hospital, he seemed to be in a positive or at least optimistic mood. And maybe that's the real takeaway of Javelin, looking for the beauty and joy of being human in the face of tremendous pain and loss. A takeaway that's backed up by the closer, a cover of Neil Young's There's a World. A song about finding your place in the world and realizing, despite or even because of the chaos around us, you have a part to play. Number 2. Like, damn, dude. Jeez. Fuck. My Back Was a Bridge for You to Cross is a towering piece of work by Anoni and the Johnsons. I wish I could say this as someone who was familiar with the group's work, but honestly, I'm still pretty new to it. My introduction to Anoni's work was her solo record in 2016, and whereas that record leaned heavy into electronic production, My Back takes cues from 60s and 70s rock and soul. The topics covered range from the grief over a lost friend to widespread societal injustice, and the music is immediately gripping. It Must Change hits me with the same poignant weariness as Wilco's Jesus Etc., which is a very specific touch point, but if you know, you know. The way Anoni tenderly bends her voice is just heart-wrenching.
That's why this is so sad.
Crazy life.
Sliver of Ice, Jesus Christ. This was written about the late Lou Reed, and it uses the metaphor of an ice cube melting in one's mouth to capture sheer existential dread.
And the taste of water on my tongue, on my way towards oblivion.
Scapegoat starts from the unsettling line
You're so killable.
and mounts this dynamic escalation until it cannot be held back any longer. And if you can make it to the snare hits leading into the final section of Can't without feeling some kind of emotion, YouTube must be registering you incorrectly in my analytics, because you should be coming up as a dead viewer. Across other songs like Rest, Go Ahead, and Why Am I Alive Now, you can't help but be floored by Anoni's captivating voice and the incredible contributions by the band. This record was a bridge for me to cross into good music world. Before we get to number 1, here are 10 honorable mentions. This was actually on the list until Corinne came through with the surprise upset. Consider it number 11 then. It's the best Lana Del Rey album since Norman effing Rockwell. Check out my deep discog dive on her if you want to hear more of my thoughts about it.
I woke up in a truck stop parking lot.
Ben Folds was one of the first musicians whose work I truly fell in love with, so he's got an honorary spot on this list anytime he releases something, though it helps that What Matters Most is a very good project. Turns out the girl from Ariana Grande's Monopoly is pretty damn good at singing and songwriting. Another instance of me not knowing someone's game. In 2022, Carly Rae Jepsen invented loneliness. In 2023, she invented loveliness.
What's the matter? Looking
One of our most consistently good songwriters releases a consistently good album. More news at 11. Congrats on the chart hit, too. Yeah, screw it. This might be another case of recency bias, but I liked the Andre 3000 ambient flute album. Came around during a time when I was pretty stressed, helped me to feel not so stressed. Hell yeah.
One last time, the window I saw you through.
The Window reminds me of Great Grandpa's 2019 album, Four of Arrows, in that it's here as an honorary mention, but there's a good chance that in 3 or 4 years, I will be kicking myself for not putting it higher.
This is why I don't leave the house.
This album could have just been the title track and Running Out of Time, and it would still be in contention for this list. Luckily for us, it comes with a bunch of other great songs. Possibly Paramore's best album yet.
oh, the burning pain.
Sometimes you need records that are ultra malleable. You want to put on this Loewe record while you're cleaning your apartment? It's great for that. But if you want to sit down and pay attention to some lovely mid-century pop, it's great for that too. How is it that nearly everyone who was in The Idol had a pretty good year aside from being in The Idol? Great pop record from Troy. And now, number 1. I mentioned back with Boy Genius that I've been making videos since 2018. Next January marks my 6-year anniversary of doing this. 6 years in the grand scheme of things is not a long time, but then I remembered that the average lifespan of an online creator is about 5 to 7 years, so in terms of the internet, I'm basically a senile old man. Maybe that's why, as I continue to make videos and also live my life, that I've come to really appreciate consistency. Excellence can be an art, but more often it's a practice. And I really admire artists who show that they are in it for the long haul. So with that in mind, I'd like to play for you now one of my favorite songs from 2012. This is I Belong in Your Arms by the band Chairlift. It's a great synth pop bop that was all over the indie blogs back in the day. This song came about 7 years after the band first started, so this is already backing up my point about consistency and how cool it is. But why am I actually bringing this song up? Well, Chairlift's lead singer might look familiar to you, because after the band split in 2017, she began a solo career. She made a viral hit about wanting to see a banana, and it just so happens that this year, she made this. Desire I Want to Turn Into You is phenomenal. On this album, Caroline Polachek weaves together outlandish production, a wide gamut of instruments, irresistible hooks, and one of the most dynamic voices of the past decade. The flamenco feel of Sunset, the instantly catchy chorus of Welcome to My Island, the tempered soundscape of Crude Drawing of an Angel, Blood and Butter, gross name, fun song, sick bagpipe solo. Bassline off Bunny is a Rider saved me from getting hit by a car. The breakbeat bop that is Fly to You with Grimes and frickin' Dido. My tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why. Oh wait, it's because I feel like I never see Dido these days. Even though she did do a song this year with Jason Derulo.
My tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why I got out of bed at all.
Billions closes the record so perfectly, I didn't know what the Billions referred to until I saw her live. That was a fun experience. The children's choir at the end should have clued me in. When you put it all together, dang. Desire is the result of a talented vocalist and songwriter putting in the work after so many years only to come out with a record that can't help but exude excellence. Caroline says, I'm not leaving her island, but I never said I wanted to. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge shout out to all of the artists who put out great work this year. I hope you check all of these records out and maybe even consider supporting the artists by buying, their CDs, vinyl, merch, concert tickets, anything like that. Now, I'm off to relax and enjoy the holiday season. I hope you have a great holiday season as well, and I will see you in the new year.